Welcome back to Great Day Houston. At the same time, buying a home is the American dream. For some people, going through the process can seem like a nightmare. Our next guest streamlines the process and helps you to capture extra money you didn't know about. Renee Morton is with Morton Mortgage. We also have homeowner Cameron Robinson with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we were in the office and we were talking to a couple of folks who have bought homes and some who haven't. And so we said, okay, you haven't bought homes. They go, it seems so confusing to us. And I go, okay, for those of us who have bought homes, still seems so confusing to us.
Right.
Which is why it's so important to have someone like you who can walk us through the process. And I'm going to bring up someone who got taken advantage of before in your personal life, right?
Right. So, so I bought my first house at 18, and I was taken advantage of. And so when I got into this business 15 years ago, my goal was really to treat people the way I wanted to be treated, you know, in both of my home purchases, and just make sure people understood what they were getting into and that they understood the whole process from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And so education.
Because not understanding will cost you a lot of money.
It will. Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Cameron, you've financed a home with her. This is the second time, right?
Yes, yes. Just finished up with the second one. So actually started in 2011 was when I started my job, my first job out of college. 2012 is when I actually bought my first home. So I'd been, you know, working for about a year, and Renee walked me through the process. You know, I was really nervous and scary the first time around, but you know, she answered all the questions, and probably had too many questions for her. But it was nice to have someone on my side.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, speaking of first time, you know, out of college, buying their first home, a lot of folks have been told, okay, you got to have 20% down. You haven't established your credit or anything. You have to have 20% down. Not necessarily true.
It's not true. So you do need to have good credit. You need to have your a job lined up, and you can buy with as little as 3% down. You don't have to have 20% to put down. Most people think that you've got to save that 20% because they're afraid of mortgage insurance, but mortgage insurance is really not a bad thing if you have good credit. So the higher your credit score, the lower your mortgage insurance is going to be.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
And what you need to qualify, they look at whether you've graduated from college or not. That plays a role,
Right.
doesn't it? Or
So,
trade school.
Yes. So if you graduated from school, you can use your transcript from the past 2 years in replace of job history, which is really great.
Yeah, all right. And a job with 1 month of paycheck stubs.
Yes, just 1 month. And but you do have to have established credit. You do have to have that job lined up and a contract typically for your new job.
Yeah. Do they look at what's in your checking account at the time or
They
savings
do.
account? Okay.
Yeah, we want to know that you've got enough funds to close, because if you don't, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Now, a lot of times what people will do is they'll go, okay, mom and dad or a friend, can we borrow some money, make it look like we have something in there?
Right.
You can see that history.
Yes, and so we do go back 2 months, and the important thing is that your down payment can be gifted by your family, but you can't borrow money to borrow money.
Yeah.
So you have to have your own money in your account or document that your parents are gifting you that down payment.
Yeah, because we saw in 2008 when the whole housing industry kind of collapsed, right? And the
It's
economy
pretty
collapsed as a
scary.
result of that. There were some changes that were made, and so there are some things that are a little bit different, but it doesn't mean you cannot buy a house.
Right, lending has become very strict, but there's some good things that have been put into place to prevent fraud, and so, and also from people buying houses that shouldn't be buying houses.
Yeah.
So,
all right, with that 3% down payment, you can qualify for a house up to what?
$453,100.
Wow, nice. Okay, what pre-work did you do? Because I know sometimes we look at, we go, just tell me what the monthly payment's going to be, right?
Right.
That's what we kind of look at in this country is what's the monthly payment. But pre-work and what advice do you have for homeowners to understand just because you can qualify for $453,100 doesn't mean that you need to do that.
Right, yeah. I would just say, you know, make the best decision that you possibly can. And, you know, talking to Renee, she helps you make that decision. So I know I, you know, read a bunch of personal finance books to help me kind of figure out what path I wanted to take.
You know you're not the average person, right?
Right. Well, you know, I try to do some other things too, but yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun for me. You know, I thought it was going to be scary, but it was fun, and it was very rewarding at the same time.
Yeah,
so.
and then you went through the process of selling a home and then buying a home, buying another home as well.
Selling a home is not near as fun as buying a home, but
right, until the money comes in, right? Until you get the sold sign in the yard. Okay, and you mentioned earlier you loved working with Renee because you could ask questions, you felt comfortable with her, and then of course, did you know before you got your other home that you could do it with 3% down payment as opposed to 20%?
So I didn't at first, but you know, when I bought my first home, that's when I found out, and that's how I was actually able to purchase my first home. I didn't have a huge down payment, so I got PMI and then actually refinanced with Renee a few years later to take away that PMI and just kind of get a better interest rate.
Yeah,
so.
Explain to people what PMI is.
So PMI is private mortgage insurance, and it's it's insurance that all lenders put on your loan if you don't put 20% down. It's their way of recouping a loss if you're foreclosed on. Because if you put 3% into a transaction and you lost your job, you're quicker to walk away than you would if you had 20% down. So it's required on most loans if you don't put 20% down.
All right, one of the things you suggest that people do, get pre-approved. That
Yes.
way you can go out and know what you're looking for, but when you apply online with you all, you can get people pre-approved.
Yes, it takes us about 24 to 48 hours. So when you apply online, one of the things that we want to look for is your last 2 months bank statements, your last 2 years tax returns, and if you've just graduated from college, we'll look at your transcript for the last 2 years. But we thoroughly review everything to make sure when you start shopping that you understand what you're doing, and that also that you understand what kind of loan is best for you.
Yeah.
So we walk you through the process.
And if someone is not qualifying for a various reason, we let them know why and kind of how they can get there.
Right. We guide them to make sure that they can become a homeowner. So our goal is to educate them so that we actually do a blueprint to successful homeownership. That's what we call it.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah.
Okay, what's that in that blueprint?
We walk you through the process, and we start out by looking at your tax returns, paycheck stubs, and things like that, and then we pick a program that's best for you, give you 2 different options, and let you start shopping based on what you want for yourself.
Yeah, and of course the nice thing is that you can close in 30 days or less, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very quick,
Move
very
in
quick process.
And home sweet home. All right, you can apply online today at mortonmortgage.net, mortonmortgage.net. You can be fully approved in 24 to 48 hours, business hours that is. And for more information, you can call Morton Mortgage at this number, 832-912-4096, 832-912-4096. And of course, the best thing is just to at least know, right,
Yes,
where you
right.
stand. All right, thank you very much.